So you guys know about all the things that I've been talking about, and I'm telling you, if you pay attention, more and more comes out about it every day about the New World Order, what is happening with digital IDs, which have been rolled out in the United States, Illinois. I gave you that video yesterday. But look at what is going viral today, and we've got to get into the details of all of this stuff. Take a listen.
My prediction is that work will be optional.
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 This scares a lot of folks here when it comes to the future of jobs. So let's hear about your thoughts, Elon and Jensen, on that.
Sure. Well, if you say like in the long term, where will things end up? Long term, I don't know what long term is. Maybe it's 10, 20 years or something like that. For me, that's long term. My prediction is that work will be optional.
Optional.
Optional. So
we'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be like playing sports or a video game or something like that. If you want to work, in the same way, like you can go to the store and just buy some vegetables, or you could grow vegetables in your backyard. It's much harder to grow vegetables in your backyard, but some people still do it because they like growing vegetables. That will be what work is like, optional. Now, between now and then, there's actually a lot of work to get to that point. Mm-hmm. If you go out long enough, assuming there's a continued improvement in AI and robotics, which seems likely, the money will stop being relevant at some point in the future. Now, there will still be constraints on power, like electricity and mass. The fundamental physics elements will still be constraints, but I think at some point currency becomes irrelevant.
Currency becomes irrelevant. And if you guys haven't been paying attention, Elon Musk has been posting this stuff all week, showing what our future is going to look like. Even the robot hitting the person. That work is going to be optional. Doesn't it sound good? I'm here from the government. I'm here to help. Anytime the government puts out things to make our lives easier and more comfortable, and it's going to bring peace and security, peace and safety, that is where you need to be looking at and be terrified. I'm not terrified because I told you where my trust and belief is. Okay. But this is what I guess the robot's gambling and all of that. But then also the robot is doing surgery. And there's several videos like this. Okay. And so if you're not paying attention, people think this is just some far away thing. He's saying 10 to 20 years is the long term. I think it's way sooner than that. But this is why they're rushing. They're rushing for a reason, guys. They're spending trillions of dollars on this AI infrastructure, Project Stargate, and the electricity. In fact, I'm going to do a video breaking that down and their power needs and why they're doing all of this. But we know, for me, I understand the global system that has rolled out. We've talked about it over and over here. But they need all of this. Sorry, I'm going to turn up. That image is making my stomach hurt. They need all of this power for a specific reason. They need all of this AI power, trillions of dollars being spent. Okay. AI right now is propping up. These AI companies are propping up the stock market. We've talked about the global currency, where now in Europe, I brought you that video yesterday, the EU, they're doing away with cash. You're no longer going to be able to use cash. And anything that's in digital currency, like Bitcoin and all of that, anything you spend or anything over $1,000, it has to be tracked and traced by this new global system. But we also know that digital ID lays the groundwork for what? Social credit score. We've brought in how the WEF and all their plans and how they want to control every aspect of your life. But getting into this whole thing about he also says you will own nothing and you will be happy. That we all know that statement. But then also now you won't work. Money will be irrelevant. How is that possible? Because if you don't work, if everything is irrelevant except for what they tell you is relevant, this is why I say voting is not going to matter. People have all this outrage online about different politicians and factions within the left, factions within the right. They don't care. None of it matters. There's a reason why you're seeing All of these things happening at the same time, and you've got to open your eyes and ears. You've got to be prepared. I have another thing about 3i Atlas I'm going to do right after this one, because we've got to put these signs and wonders together. No man knows the day or the hour, but we are told that we will know the season. We are commanded to look for these signs and wonders and know the season. If anyone says that digital ID and the social credit score, which is being implemented, social credit score has been implemented in Utah. I told you, we went over that yesterday. But if you don't understand that this is the groundwork for the beast system, they already leaked about how we're going to need multiple vaccinations. They need a vaccine passport added to your digital ID because they have multiple vaccines coming out for the next pandemic. They actually, we flayed that enough where Tony Blair lets it slip and other people have let it slip. But let's get into this. This is actually a really good video because it's going to kind of show you, bring together a lot of things that happened just this week that you're going to want to pay attention to.
I settled 8 wars, and I'll tell you, His Majesty would like me to do something very powerful having to do with Sudan.
So in case you didn't know, he settled 8 wars. And so it's kind of interesting how all of these people from all across the world are going to one individual in the world to solve the world's problems. They are all going to President Trump, which I think is something to take note of. But he solved 8 wars, and to continue on his resume for being the peace president, or the president of peace, it says Ukraine says ready to work on U.S. plan to end war with Russia. And so those 8 wars that he has solved could be 9 pretty soon. But in other news, Chinese hackers used Anthropic's AI to automate cyber attacks. I just want you to think about that for a second. It is automated cyber attacks, which means no humans were involved in these cyber attacks. The humans just basically told the AI what to do, and the AI took over from there and did the rest. This is crazy. So now people don't only have to worry about being hacked by a human, but now they need to be worried about being hacked by artificial intelligence. And speaking of how crazy artificial intelligence is getting right now, the EU is expanding censorship through the Digital Services Act. And by the end of 2025, all member states must appoint trusted flaggers to enhance online security. There's articles like this where a man in Germany called government workers parasites on X, and a few hundred views later, police raided his home, seized his phones, took biometrics, demanded DNA, and warned he is now under surveillance. And you know how cool it is to have artificial intelligence in a toy? Well, a children's toy? Well, this thing has artificial intelligence in it, and it is giving advice on things that it has no business talking about to children. And it's also giving the location on where they can find knives. And then Google's CEO says that AI is the most profound technology humanity has ever worked on, and that we're going to have to work through societal disruptions and that people are just going to have to adapt. And then Mr. Musk here is shaking hands with a robot in this picture, but it says AI and robots would eventually allow work to become optional for human beings. Money would become irrelevant and poverty would cease to exist. Now, I just want to remind you real quick, in case you forgot, in Genesis, God told Adam when he cursed him, he said, I am cursing the ground for your sake. And so it is good for men to be working, because if we are not working, then we fall into a whole bunch of things that we typically would not fall into. And so if there is no jobs, or if you just want to do a job just for a hobby or something like that because there's no more money and there's universal basic income and all this kind of stuff, it sounds all fine and dandy, but you need to understand the dangers that go behind it. This is pretty much what took place in Sodom and Gomorrah, according to Ezekiel, because in Ezekiel, he basically describes Ezekiel as having an abundance of food and an abundance of idleness, which led to all kinds of terrible things that followed suit after that reality was there. But that seems to be not too far away in the near distant future from where we are today. And so when you couple the idea of the universal basic income along with the automated cyber attacks that are currently taking place right now, a way that they might try to decorate and package this idea that they're going to present to us sooner or later is, why don't we all just go on over to a digital ID where they can't hack it? They'll label it and say, oh, this is unhackable. and it'll be more safe, it'll be more secure, all of those shiny words. And so this could be how we get to that point. Now, we already know that that point is coming. The only question on the table is, how are we going to get there? Because we know sometime in the future, there is going to be a mark of the beast that is going to be introduced into the world. And so obviously, I believe that's not going to take place until 3.5 years into the tribulation. And so we're not yet there. But the foundation for the mark of the beast to being built and prepared, I think that's happening right now. And I think we're seeing the foundation of it all being laid in front of our eyes because of everything that's taking place. And so with all things considered, we got a lot of things to try to track. It's overwhelming. And so I never want this to distract you from the main thing. If you're a born-again believer, the main thing is always going to be the main thing, and that's to tell people about Jesus and tell them how they can know for sure that they can get to heaven, because it sure seems like time could be short.
I settled 8 wars, and I'll tell you, His Majesty would like me to...
Sorry, I had to turn that off. It was hidden on my computer somewhere. I am now mirroring my phone, so it makes it easier for me to share videos. But anyway, that's neither here or there. But I played this one in particular. Well, you just heard that. You heard everything that he had to say. I think it's self-explanatory. It sounds all nice and utopian, but we know the realities of that. Can you imagine men across the world have no work to do and it's just optional? That's a core tenet of who a man is, what makes a man. Just as any man who's unemployed and how they feel and just their mental health. This is a disaster in the making, but I told you this is what they want. And while everybody is fighting about different things and distracted, they're not understanding that this is here. This is being ushered in, and they're getting loud and proud about it. They're getting bold about saying these things, and they're rushing it. They're rushing all of this. They're rushing us to this finish line. And you've got to wonder why. You've got to wonder why. But we don't have to wonder too much because they have laid out what they're going to do. Now, I played this in my live stream, but I want to play it here because I think it's important for you guys to hear it. But these are 8 predictions for 2030. We're talking 4 years, essentially. These are 8 predictions that the WEF, the World Economic Forum, have given, okay, about the world, of what the world is going to be in 2030. 4 years. 4 years.
So the World Economic Forum has come up with their 8 predictions that they think will happen by the year 2030. And by predictions, I mean they're going to pay a bunch of billionaires like George Soros to mind wash the dumb youth into thinking this way so that these predictions can come true. Now, I'm going to play some of them and then I'll read the rest of them to you because, yeah. 8 predictions for the world. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And if you're not, we'll put you in re-education camps and then fill you with a bunch of SSRIs and antidepressants. And if you still don't like it, don't worry, they'll find a use for you. The US won't be the world's leading superpower. That's because they want China. Just like Justin Trudeau said, their simplistic communist style is all that he ever wanted, and that's what he's getting in Canada and a bunch of other Western countries. You won't die waiting for an organ donor. Why? Because according to them, they'll just print organs. That's also a lie. You're going to be the organ donations through things like MAID, like medically assisted induced dying. Yeah, a bunch of countries have them. And now you can get it just because, you're sad one day. So where do you think those organs go? To the rich. But hey, whatever. And you'll eat much less meat. Why? Well, because an occasional treat, not a staple, for the good of the environment and our health. On their website, they specifically say that they want to limit people to 3 items of clothing a year because of the environment. But they get to fly to Geneva, Switzerland and Brazil on their private jets and eat filet mignon and all those other things while us plebs suffer. 1 billion people will be displaced by climate change. We'll have to do a better job at welcoming and integrating refugees. AKA George Soros is paying a bunch of people to flood Europe and North America that are completely incompatible with Western societies, to absolutely ruining from the inside out. And if you say anything, you're a racist. So you have to be better at bending over and allowing everyone to just come in and do whatever they want. Polluters will have to pay to emit carbon dioxide. This is so that we can bring in green energy that doesn't work, so that we can ration our energy use and so that we can live like it's the 1800s. Because we're plebs. You could be preparing to go to Mars. You know, alien life? That's to prepare you for Project Bluebeam so that they can enact the one world government and the new religion that they want. And number 8, Western values will have been tested to the breaking point. That's exactly what's happening right now. But don't worry, checks and balances that underpin our democracies must not be forgotten. Don't worry, democracies will be completely forgotten and you won't even know what it means. You'll have a digital ID and you'll be in a digital prison and you have to say and think exactly what they want you to say. Yay!
And everything she said on there is correct. Just to piggyback, let me show you this. Do you guys know that Bill Gates funded research into genetically engineering cattle ticks? Now 450,000 Americans have red meat allergies from alpha-gal syndrome caused by tick bites. There is a man who's actually died from this and people are getting sick. Why would they, these are biting people, why would they engineer a tick that would make you allergic to red meat? When part of the World Economic Forum, part of what they want to happen is that people stop eating meat completely. So what better way than to create a new allergy to make us all allergic to it? So you're forced into it. You're forced into it. That right there is a pandemic. That's a pandemic. That's not their best one, but we've been talking about how I keep saying it over and over, how they've let it slip. They've let it slip that that's what they're planning for. Okay. But getting into Canada, she mentioned Canada. I think she may be Canadian. Well, they've just given up when it comes to immigration. They just don't even care anymore. So it says Canada Border Security says because they are short-staffed, illegals are no longer required to be screened before entry. Illegals simply enter Canada, click a couple boxes on their phone, and they're officially refugees. And okay, actually, I'll play it. Is this wild, guys? Is this wild? They say we're tenfold, we're crazy and all of that. But if you start listening to pay attention to these details, which none of our politicians are talking about any of this stuff. They all know it. They all know it. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care what party you're for. I don't care what faction in each party. I don't care who you are. They all know it. They all know all of this stuff. And yet they have us distracted with things that are going to mean nothing. They don't care about our votes anymore because they won't matter. If we will own nothing and be happy, listen, you won't vote and you will be happy. When they said we will not have to vote again, you don't have to believe me. Believe what you want. These are my beliefs from the evidence that I'm seeing. And they're saying out loud. But let's listen to this gentleman.
In essence, to speed things up, because we are short-staffed, we're allowing people into the country without first doing that security screening.
Okay, hold on a second here. So you're saying that a refugee claimant coming to Canada goes to a machine and says, I want to be a refugee in Canada, hits a button and they're in the country? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's not a machine, it's an application. So the one-touch system, they're given instructions on how to use that. That connects directly with IRCC, and they're given that documentation to complete on their own once they're in the country. We're not doing that.
So basically they take out their phone, theoretically, and they tap it a few times, and they are now in the country as a refugee accepted by our country.
Yes, we get some basic data from them, and again, we do the biometrics. But beyond that, they're doing that on their own, yes. So in essence, to speed things up, because we are short-staffed.
Did you notice he said they do the biometrics? They're using the digital ID biometrics in order to just let illegals just come in. Just illegals just come in. No screening process. You just get to check a little boxes. Are you a terrorist? Are you doesn't matter. Automatically, you get refugee status. And not only that, you're going to get all full government benefits. And most likely you're considered legal at that point. You're going to get ID. You're going to get all of the benefits of being a citizen in Canada. And if you think it's just there, guys, this is globally, and it is coming here to the US. But getting into this social credit score and what I talked about with the banking, what we talk about with the money, Okay, the social credit score is already rolled out. All the things that are happening here, all the groundwork they're laying in the UK, all the things that they've done it in China. Okay, they haven't fully implemented everything. We know that because the B system is not fully operable yet. But what they've done over there, I showed you the video. Kids wear a QR code and get lined up and scanned to take their next vaccine, and it goes into their social credit. All right, their social credit score. And this is why they're pushing social credit versus actual credit score, because they're going to do away with credit score because you won't own anything. You won't have any money. You won't work. So none of that is going to be relevant. All of these things are converging. Are you starting to see the picture of what is happening? Now, I want to play this video. It kind of has an AI voice, but it is very good information to help you understand and pull together some of these pieces so it becomes clearer. Now, at first, it may scare you, which is done to me at first. But the more and more I look at it, the more trust and faith and belief in Jesus Christ do I have. My belief in the word of God and understanding that I don't need to be afraid. I don't need to be afraid. God knew this was happening before I even was aware of it, that there was a plan set in time and that Jesus will be returning. You don't have to believe me. You can take your bets with this stuff. Like, listen, I know you probably trust the government and you think they really have your best in mind and that they really love you. The politicians love you. The government loves you. Elon Musk loves you. The world, the WEF loves you. And I'm just a crazy conspiracy theorist wearing tinfoil. So don't listen to me. I'm a religious nut. Okay, so you trust in the government as your God. I'm going to trust in Jesus Christ and what the word of God says. Okay, so that is where you need to be reassured, guys. You need to be reassured that these things were all predicted in the Bible. And when we combine it with the third temple and what's happening with 3-Eye Atlas and NASA line, and now even scientists and astronomers are just like going crazy because they're just like, NASA's a complete joke. They're lying about everything. Because if they're going to lie about one thing, why aren't they not lying about all of it? And if you've been following my live streams, you know exactly what they're lying about. But let's listen to this.
A quote commonly attributed to Benito Mussolini: fascism should more properly be called corporatism because it is the merger of state and corporate power, clearly explains the form of today's emerging fascist state in America. Last week, we reported how the digital ID will be deployed by private companies and the customer's consent. The government doesn't need to mandate biometric ID, which would most likely be considered a violation of American rights. And so it outsources the mandate to private companies who are legally required to get consent, while the government is free to collect and utilize this data under legal immunity. Just like the COVID era, you will be free to give consent. But if you choose not to, you will have to leave the reservation and find a way to fend for yourself. This week, we will look at what is commonly known as the social credit score and its active deployment in the US.
I was about to order food on Uber Eats, and as I'm about to check out, I noticed this disclosure, which made me pause. I was like, huh? What do you mean an algorithm is determining the price that I am paying for based on my personal data?
Communist China's social credit system is a compliance framework that was launched in 2014 with the official goal of building trust in society by punishing individual behavior. This system has allowed banks to shut off people's money and prevent them from traveling or leaving their neighborhood. It allows the Communist Chinese government the ability to condition people's behavior on an individual basis, and it is now being deployed in the United States. Here, it is being called algorithmic pricing and uses automated computer programs to dynamically set the price of goods and services in real time and on an individual basis. The algorithms are based on large amounts of data, including customer behavior, and can charge one individual more than another for the same product based on their willingness to pay and all of their personal data. Wherever you live in the US, you are likely being subjected to this social credit score system right now. But the only way you would know is if you reside in the state of New York. On November 10th, 2025, New York's Algorithmic Pricing Disclosure Act was launched. The Southern District of New York upheld the act as constitutional because it compels private corporations to notify you that you are being charged based on personalized algorithmic pricing, which the courts define as dynamic pricing set by an algorithm that uses personal data. Personal data is defined as any data that identifies or could reasonably be linked directly or indirectly with a specific consumer or device. And the law does not consider whether that data was voluntarily provided or not, which means that every aspect of your life can be used to determine what a company charges you for their service. New York's Algorithmic Pricing Disclosure Act is the first of its kind, and we can expect to soon see the same in all 50 states. But one thing is for certain, the social credit score is now a real thing in America, and it's a safe bet that the carbon tax isn't far away. An AI-run cryptocurrency economy is the only solution being pursued by the United States government and the big banks, who see it as the only way to save America from its crippling debt and claim victory in the artificial intelligence arms race.
In AI 2027, what we depict happening is special economic zones with zero red tape. The government basically intervenes to help this whole thing go faster.
Because the promise of gains is so large that even though there are protesters massed outside these special economic zones who are about to lose their jobs as plumbers and be dependent on a universal basic income, the promise of, trillions of more in wealth is too alluring for governments to pass out. That's what
we guess. But of course, the future is hard to predict. But
yes.
Part of the reason why we predict that is that we think that at least at that stage, the arms race will still be continuing between the U.S. and other countries, most notably China.
Right.
And so if you imagine yourself in the position of the president, and the super intelligences are giving you these wonderful forecasts with amazing research and data backing them up, showing how they think they could, transform the economy in 1 year if you did X, Y, and Z. But if you don't do anything, it'll take them 10 years because of all the regulations. Meanwhile, China, it's pretty clear that the president would be very sympathetic to that argument,
Greg Reese reporting.
So there it is. There it is. You combine that with all the stuff I've been showing you, and now I'm just seeing we've gone so far, almost 30 minutes on this video, and I have a lot more to show you of things I've unpacked. So make sure you are subscribed, that you hit the notification bell, because I'm going to keep you updated. I have so much to share with you, and this is the top priority in the entire world right now. In the US, this is the number one thing. And when I say the number one thing, I'm talking about the digital ID, the B system, the AI, all of the things they're keeping us distracted for, and all of the things that they say that are good for us. Not the fights that we're having. They like all that, right? Because it keeps us fighting like roaches, distracted. We're not really looking at what they're doing. How many people sit through and watch all the videos from the WEF? Who combs through all of their literature? They know we don't. But they say it all out loud. If you just open your eyes and ears and listen and hear them, this is what they want. These are the things that they are saying. And it's in plain sight. So what are you going to do? You're not going to be able to fight this. You're not. Like, I don't care what anybody's saying. Okay. Listen, the Second Amendment is not going to save you. You're going to need digital ID even to have any type of weapon. And if you don't get the digital ID, what do you think they're going to do? What do you think? They're just going to let you rest, or they come into your house? Nothing will save you. Nothing will save you. You can try and fight, but the only thing that will save you is what the Bible says will save you, which predicted all of this, predicted every single thing about this. The only thing that can save you is Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ alone. Like I said, though, believe it or not, if the government is your God or you don't believe in that, that's fine. Okay? You're going to get what you get. And I'm saying this with love. I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm not trying to be mean. But people need a hope. But outside of your faith and belief in what Jesus Christ said and that he is returning soon, there is nothing else that will save you. There's no country on earth that you can run to. You can't live off the land. Like, you can try for a while, but we already know what they're planning and what's going to happen. So Guys, make your choice, but trust and believe. Do not lose hope. Do not lose faith. Do not feel scared. That's, this is not meant to scare you. This is meant to inform you. You may get a little scared at first, more terrified, but this is where you have to walk by faith, okay? And not by sight. Yes, we see everything that's happening, but at the same time, there are some amazing things happening, some things that I'm learning about history, things that are happening in the world right now that give us hope and give us peace and give us calm. And once you embrace that and you understand it, I'm telling you, we have nothing to fear. The world has a lot to fear with this, but we do not. So I will see you guys very shortly.